Everybody, and welcome to Tuesday Training. I hope you're having a fantastic week. As always,
we are live from Austin, Texas, right here at Insurance Syndicate headquarters, and man, we have a great show for you.
Good morning, guys. Good morning, and happy Tuesday. I appreciate y'all staying with me. We had a lot going on this morning. Couldn't get the show launched at 9 a.m. We had a meeting I'm going to tell you about it a little later, but we had a 9 a.m. meeting for the team here on a new product that we're going to be working on that I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about towards the end of the show, see what you think about it. And this will be probably a little quick show today. I don't have a ton of news. I got one piece of news that a lot of people are talking about right now in regards to Medicare. It is all over the news. If you go to Google News and you just search the word Medicare as a search term, you're going to find numerous articles about this topic that we're going to jump on today. As a matter of fact, I think Christian Brindle over in his six-figure Medicare group is talking about it as well. So we will jump into that. That is the primary thing that we're all kind of figuring out. Some of us are super happy about it. Some of us are a little puzzled about it. And some of us are certainly concerned and might think, that the sky is falling. The sky is definitely not falling. And I think ultimately this could certainly result in some great things ahead. We'll get to that. Before we do, as always, this show is brought to you by DFY CRM. It's my CRM of choice, man. The number of tools that are in that CRM are outstanding. If you are an agent looking for a good CRM, you need to call DFY. And speaking of DFY, they were one of the sponsors for the Invictus conference that we just finished up last week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, over at the Royal Sonesta in Houston at the Galleria. And I have to tell you, slamming event. This was our third year doing Invictus. And if you don't know what Invictus is, it's the only Spanish language insurance conference open to agents of all lines of business. Certainly, it is very heavily attended in the life and health space, but we've got P&C people there, we got annuity people there, et cetera, and all of those topics are covered at some level at the event. One thing that we didn't purposely do this year in regards to topics, we didn't purposely tell everybody to create an overarching theme of the conference, but it just kind of turned out that way and made it super special. And if there was one overarching theme of the entire conference and most of the topics, even though they were hitting on different areas of the industry, seemed like resilience was kind of the overarching theme of the event. Every speaker, even though they might be talking about telesales or they might be talking about annuities or financial planning or Medicare sales or Advantage products, et cetera, there was an underlying message in every one of their presentations in regards to resilience, which I think, considering the environment that we're all in right now, was an extremely important and very timely message. But with that said, the event went off with a bang, certainly not without its challenges, which I think is funny because the title of the conference is Invictus, right? Invictus, and that translates basically back into unstoppable, or as we say in Spanish, imparable. And every time we've thrown this event, there has been something in the way that has tried to shut it down. The very first year, we had problems with the hotel that created logistical issues in getting people into the conference in a timely manner. We also had a fire alarm go off in the middle of the conference, and we had to evacuate the building and then move everybody back in. Didn't change. Like 90% of the audience got back into the building after the fire alarm, and we made sure that one went off. Second year wasn't without its own issues. We had a flood that came in. Houston flooded. People's homes got flooded that year that were attending our conference. Didn't matter. Conference went on and was a banging success. We had close to 300 people last year. This year, same thing. We had a sewage problem on day one that created it. The sewage problem was so bad on Wednesday when we opened the show, and that was basically just registration, getting ready for the welcome party. All the vendors are coming in to get set up. It was so bad that one of our buddies, Javier Sepulveda, who is part of our diamond sponsor with Western Marketing, got so sick he had to pretty much spend the rest of the day in the room. That's how bad the sewage outbreak was. Thankfully, they got it fixed quickly. Thankfully, and it didn't interrupt too much of the show, but it did cause some problems at registration. We also had, again, we had another massive rainstorm come through, which concerned a lot of people. They're like, man, here's another big storm coming to Houston. Are we going to have more flooding? Are we going to have more problems? Didn't stop too much. You know, there was a few people that left early to get ahead of the storm and make sure that they didn't have any problems with their homes or flooding or anything like that. But turned out it wasn't too bad of a storm. And then we had some furniture issues and actually got ourselves in a little bit of trouble because we realized we needed to make some changes on day 2 of the conference, of the general session conference, in regards to resetting up the rooms to make it more comfortable for our attendees. So some of us took it upon ourselves to start moving tables and chairs from one room upstairs down to our general session room on the bottom floor. And certainly the hotel got wind of it. You know, they probably saw us on cameras moving our tables and stuff, and they were not very happy about it. But we got around it, got it done, and all in all, the conference was slamming. We had several people at the end of the event, several people that had been to all 3 shows, right? They've been to Invictus 1 back in 2024. They were there last year in Houston, and they were there this year. And they said, without a doubt, this was the best one we've ever done. And I tend to agree, like the level of content that we had at this event was much higher than it's been in other events, right? And that's not including all the extra little details that we do with the food. Like you can ask anybody that's been to our event, the food is slamming, right? Because I firmly believe that one of the quickest ways to anybody's heart is through their belly. And if you can feed them well, you can gain their attention, right? Keep them satiated and keep them ready for the event. So one of the things that we always make sure that we do at Invictus that we do well is we make sure that you are very well fed with some excellent food. VIP party was a slamming event. We had a great VIP party. We even threw a little curveball surprise. I had a gentleman named Caesar the Magician come in and do some street magic in the VIP party. And this dude, he was David Blaine level with the card magic. Like it was so good. He did numerous types of card tricks that were mind-blowing. He also did some mentalism tricks where he was basically reading your mind and telling you what you were thinking of. It was unique. It was different. I've never been to an event that had a magician come in and just walk around and entertain the crowd with magic. But this dude was off the chain. So we always do some unique stuff at Invictus. Stay tuned because we have some big announcements for next year coming soon. Just wait. You are not going to want to miss next year. I guarantee it. So with that said, I want to dive into the article of the day, man. Like I said, this is the thing that is all over the news right now. Everybody is talking about it. This was filed on May 1st. I've already got a couple of articles that I threw in the group. One was from Newsweek, and I also linked the actual DOJ article, the DOJ news release, which I'll throw up here in a second. But this is from Fierce Healthcare, which I think covers it really well. And if you haven't heard, and it's funny because I can't say that I would have ever expected this from the current administration. I would have absolutely, well, maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way. I would have certainly expected this from the previous administration. Or again, maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way because let's face it, the people that are named in this lawsuit have some of the deepest pockets to lobby with. And maybe that's what's kept them out of lawsuits in the past administrations. But this administration is not having any of it. And if you haven't already heard about this, man, this is some pretty big news in my opinion. And so I want to run through it. I'm going to chat about it and give you some of my thoughts on it. But basically, the Justice Department has filed a lawsuit under the False Claims Act with Aetna, Humana, Elevance Health, which is known as Anthem in previous years. And they've also filed it against the 3 biggest brokers in the business, eHealth, GoHealth, and SelectQuote. Now, I know as independent agents, we tend to think negatively about eHealth, GoHealth, and SelectQuote, right? These are massive call centers. In a lot of cases, you might hear brokers saying this, and I kind of tend to run this opinion, that they don't necessarily serve the beneficiary in the best interest. And I'm not saying that they don't serve the beneficiary by helping them find a good Medicare Advantage plan for them. But as I understand these organizations, and please, if you know better than me, type it in the chat. But my understanding of these organizations is they are in it for one reason only, and that is to flip a Medicare Advantage plan. To my knowledge, they don't sell hospital indemnity. To my knowledge, they're probably not doing much with Medicare supplement plans. They're probably not selling cancer plans, et cetera, et cetera. And if I'm wrong, type it in the chat. But my understanding of these organizations is that they use tactics in marketing, whether it be television ads, radio ads, Facebook marketing, digital ads on Google, et cetera, to find Medicare Advantage beneficiaries, get them on the phone, and do whatever they can to flip that Medicare Advantage plan. You can rest assured that the agents that are in these organizations all have quotas to meet. And if they don't meet those quotas, certainly they're going to have some issues. So they are a high volume, flip it and rip it type shop, right? I don't know that they always act in the Medicare beneficiary's best interest. And that is the crux of the article and the crux of the lawsuit. Now, again, the lawsuit was filed under the False Claims Act. And just to help you understand what the False Claims Act is, it is a federal law in the United States that imposes liability on individuals or companies who knowingly submit false and fraudulent claims for payment to the government. Pretty simple, right? It was originally acted back in 1863 to combat fraud during the Civil War. I didn't know that, but it remains certainly a powerful tool against government fraud, especially in healthcare. Now, some of the key features is that you knowingly, which includes actual knowledge, deliberate ignorance, or reckless disregard of the truth. It has a whistleblower provision, which this lawsuit was filed under, which allows private individuals that they call relators to actually file lawsuits on behalf of the government and receive a portion of any of the recovered damages. And those penalties can include treble damages, which is triple, and civil fines per false claim. Common examples under the False Claims Act includes billing Medicare and Medicaid for services not provided. And we have seen that several times. I'm actually going to give you another real world scenario in regards to the False Claims Act. It also includes things like overcharging for products and services or just falsifying records to get federal funds. So recently, a real world example, just to kind of help you out, is United Health Group back in 2021. And I believe this lawsuit may still be going on. But back in 2021, United Health Group was accused of submitting false diagnosis codes for Medicare Advantage patients to inflate their risk scores so that they could get higher payments back. We have heard about this numerous times. There's actually been a few carriers that have been sued in regards to upcoding, right? Creating additional diagnoses so they can get more money from the government, right? Pretty simple. Basically, Medicare Advantage pays insurers more for sicker patients. And the DOJ claimed in that lawsuit that United Health knowingly overstated patients' conditions without proper documentation or necessity. And that lawsuit also was filed under the qui tam provision, the whistleblower provision, because it was filed by a former employee. While United Health denied wrongdoing, the government's case showcased how upcoding is a major FCA issue in Medicare. So that was kind of one example, right? And there's been others. Sutter Health was another one that paid like $90 million in a settlement for a similar thing, where they were submitting claims that were upcoded to get more federal money. So a little different here. And I'm just going to go through this article with you and chat about it with you. Again, I've got also the DOJ actual complaint. That's already in the group. If you go to the post, the article that I posted originally from Newsweek, you'll see the actual DOJ complaint linked underneath that. It's pretty cut and dry, but I'm going to use this Fierce Healthcare article right here to run through it with you real quick. But pretty basic. It says that the Trump administration has filed a complaint against 3 major payers and 3 broker organizations claiming the insurers paid kickbacks to brokers to boost Medicare Advantage enrollment. Insurers Aetna, Humana, and Elevance are named, as are eHealth, GoHealth, and SelectQuote. The Department of Justice said that between 2016 and 2021, those 3 brokers were paid hundreds of millions of dollars in kickbacks in exchange for enrolling people in their specific insurer plan. Now, the interesting thing about this is going to be the argument of the word kickbacks. I don't know exactly what they're referring to. Like when I think of kickbacks, I think of money that's given post-enrollment. So I would say, let's kind of arbitrarily think about this. Hey, if you write 100 Humana plans, right, we'll kick you back some bonus money, right? So you get like a volume bonus. That could be what that's referring to. It could be that they're referring to the heaped commission models that were being offered through some of these call centers, where instead of just getting the $626, right, or whatever their contract level is for an individual Medicare enrollment, they were actually being paid 3 to maybe 5 years of commissions in one sale. So they're getting, $3,000, $2,000, whatever that number might be, as a heaped commission. That could be what they're referring to. I'm not sure. The big argument and really is going to be what defines the kickbacks, because I think they might have a hard time on that heaped commission model. But if they find that there was something separate that they were being paid or bonused based on enrollments that are outside of the contractual commission requirements, right, the caps, et cetera, then that could be an issue. They don't go through exactly what the kickbacks are, right? So that's a bit of a gray area that I think we'll just kind of see how that rolls out. But moving through the article here, it says that many seniors use brokers to enroll in Medicare plans. And as they help individuals better navigate the process. However, the lawsuit alleges that patients were steered to the plans that paid the highest kickback sums. So again, they're using the word kickback. Could they just be saying that, hey, Aetna was giving you a higher commission level contract to write their business versus what Devoted might be given, right? We already know this is an issue, and that's why they have a cap on what agents get. But if you look at the contracts, like there's no cap at the top level, right? There is no CMS that I'm aware of, and I've worked in wholesale. I've seen the contracts. I know that in certain contracts that we had with Precision or under AmeriLife, that there were carriers, WellCare, Humana, et cetera, that we were getting a higher top-end override commission versus another carrier, right? Or we were getting more co-op dollars for writing this product versus another, right? So there is no while there's a CMS cap for the agent level, right? We all get $626 or whatever the new number is. I sometimes forget, but there is no cap at the NMO level or top level that I'm aware of. And again, I've seen these contracts. So unless something's changed in the last couple of years since I left wholesale, I don't believe that's the case. So they might have some issues there that they can't get around if that's what they're saying is like, hey, Aetna's just giving them a little better contract. Like, I mean, I can tell you right now that I get a better override as an MGA on Aetna than I get on some of these other carriers, or it's a GA, just at the GA level. Like they have a little higher override there. So I could certainly argue that like, hey, I want my brokers that work under me to write more Aetna because I make bigger override, right? I'd certainly don't operate that way. So I think if that's the case, I don't know that they really have anything to stand on there, personally. If it's the heaped commission model, I don't know if they have anything to stand on there. But if they can prove that they were getting extra money for writing these products versus others, that could be an issue. So moving along, it says the complaint was filed Thursday in the Massachusetts District Court under the False Claims Act. We already mentioned that. But per the filing, brokers set up teams that would only sell the plans that paid out high kickbacks and would refuse to sell those from insurers that did not make such payments. So again, I hate that they're using the word kickback because I don't know if that's the proper word. Are they just saying here that, hey, the broker is purposely selling Aetna, Humana, or Elevance because he gets a higher commission versus the other, right? And that's why we as agents have a flat rate no matter who we sell, to avoid that, right? We're not allowed to steer. I have so many other things I would love to say on that, but I can't. But we're not allowed to steer. Like they don't want us to steer. They want us to find the product that's best for the beneficiary and have no bias. Now, as an agent, you're always going to be biased to one plan or another, not maybe because you get better commissions, but because you know it serves the client better. And if you know it serves the client better, Your retention's going to be higher, which means you have more renewals. Technically, you are making more money, but it's still the flat commission rate. So steering is an interesting thing. But moving along, it says the DOJ alleged that Aetna and Humana threatened they would withhold kickbacks to these brokers to encourage them to enroll fewer beneficiaries with disabilities on their plan. I find that interesting. Certainly, if you have more disabilities, you're going to have more claims, right, under the plan. But wouldn't that allow them to create more diagnoses to get a higher payback? The lawsuit charges that the defendant brokers steered disabled patients away from Aetna and Humana plans to secure those higher kickback payouts. If that's a fact, they're in big trouble. If they can prove that, I think they're in big trouble. Healthcare companies that attempt to profit from kickbacks will be held accountable, says Deputy Assistant Attorney General Michael Granston. He's of the Department's Civil Division. He said, we are committed to rooting out illegal practices by Medicare Advantage insurers and insurance brokers that undermine the interest of federal healthcare programs. Now, moving along, the rest of this article is basically just the carrier's responses. And somebody had already made a joke once that, hey, I think they all used the same ChatGPT response because they all said the same thing. We will vigorously defend the allegations. So certainly Elevance, Humana, et cetera, GoHealth, SelectQuote, they have all said, no, we're super compliant. We're following the rules. We will vigorously defend these allegations. But nonetheless, that lawsuit is there, and it is something that I will definitely be following and definitely something that I will be updating you guys on as much as I can. Super crazy. I mean, it's already been talked about a couple of times, and unless you're living under a rock, maybe if you're an agent in the Medicare Advantage space and you don't already know this, I'm of the opinion that the malpractice, for lack of a better word, is with these particular, and I'm going to say the brokers. I don't know about the carriers, but I'm going to talk about the brokers for a second. That those three brokers, I'm of the opinion that their malpractice goes deeper than just getting higher commissions or higher kickbacks to steer people towards certain plans, which is already a violation of CMS. Like, they're not supposed to do that, period, right? Like, if we as an independent agent get caught steering someone to a certain carrier for whatever reason, like, that's a violation of CMS regulations. So they're hitting them only with the False Claims Act. I haven't seen anything that says, hey, you're also in violation of CMS regulations, which could certainly create other penalties. I think that might be where they end up going with it. What I'm hoping is that this lawsuit uncovers more about their business practice. And the reason I'm saying that, what I'm getting to, is that we know, for the most part, that these call centers are using foreign telemarketers to cold call seniors to sell them a Medicare Advantage plan on the same phone call. And if you're an independent broker, you know you can't do that. I am not allowed to pick up the phone, cold call any Medicare person and try to sell them an MA plan on that same phone call. I can cold call Medicare beneficiaries as long as I'm not in Ohio, or as long as I'm not using certain blackout dates, right? Like, there are certain holidays you're not allowed to cold call and telemarket. But outside of Ohio, like, technically you can pick up the phone and call any 65-year-old you want. The key is you can't try to sell them an MA plan on the same phone call or a PDP plan. So these entities are using a foreign telemarketer to cold call Medicare beneficiaries, and then they will transfer that call to that broker under the guise that it's an inbound phone call, when it's absolutely not an inbound phone call. That is absolutely illegal. It violates FCC regulations. It violates CMS regulations, etc. I'm hoping really bad, that this lawsuit gets deeper and uncovers those practices. Because I'm of the opinion that's what they really need to be going after. They need to fix that part of it. That's my opinion. And I know there's other guys out there. My buddy Justin Brock shares maybe not the identical opinion, but a very similar one. He's been very vocal about it himself. So I'm kind of hoping that pushes in that direction. We'll see, right? But I mean, if you look up Google News, or if you look at Medicare news on Google right now, you're going to find article after article after article after article after article that is discussing this. I'm super happy to see it happen because, again, I believe that these organizations are not acting in the best interest of the beneficiary. And I would bet dollars to donuts that the majority of the complaints to Medicare come from organizations like these three. And they're not the only three. There are others that are out there that are high-level call centers that are basically flip it and rip it shops, right? They're going to sell one product only, and they're going to find any angle they can to get you to change your Medicare Advantage plan so that they can get the commissions and get the business. I've spoken to leaders of some of these organizations in regards to telesales on Medicare Advantage plans and retention strategies, or retention, their persistency amounts. And many of them have been very blatant. They're like, dude, if you're telesales in the Medicare Advantage space, your retention is going to be very low. And some of the numbers they've explained to me, like 60%, 65%, they're like, dude, if you can get over 70% 13-month retention on a Medicare Advantage plan that's sold by phone, like, you're doing really well. Well, we run about 90+% retention with telesales MA, but we take a different approach, right? We're not trying to just flip and rip a plan. We're trying to find the best plan that actually meets your needs. And we're also teaching you how to pair it with the hospital indemnity, how to pair it with some skilled nursing, how to pair it with a cancer plan. We'll come back behind and help you realize that you also need final expense insurance. We have a full claim service department. Like, we take that higher level of telesales. We certainly have a brick and mortar. You can come in, but even though we are doing telesales, like, we're taking a very high touch, high customer service, high satisfaction. So therefore, we do have a much higher retention rate. But these organizations, you can talk to any of them, they'll tell you that their 13-month and even beyond that retention is extremely low. Why? Well, because let's be honest, they're probably not selling what's in the client's best interest even from day one, not even including the accusations that are being made in this article. So stay tuned for more on that. I will keep you guys up to date on it as much as I can. I see one question in here from Matt McComb says, how are your thoughts about the suit relates to the final rule of 24 that was supposed to reduce some of the perks? Great question. If they'll put those two together, that could create problems if they carry it back over to the full-on broker channel. I'm not sure. So that 2024 rule in regards to the middlemen, right, and all the override structures, where the previous administration was talking about eliminating the hierarchy levels, certainly could affect some large organizations that have hierarchy structures and distribution channels. Wouldn't necessarily, in my opinion, wouldn't affect the bottom level agent as much, except that, yeah, it could remove co-op dollars. It could remove HRAs and which we've already seen some of those go away. So these two could end up connecting in some form and certainly create some further issues down the road. I don't know that they will. I'm of the opinion that they won't. I think they're strictly going to go after the fact that steering is a problem, and I support this rule. They should put a cap at the top level. If you're an NMO in the Medicare Advantage space, you should have a cap on your override as well. If I have a cap at the bottom level, right, where I'm only going to make $626 no matter who I sell as a brand new to Medicare app, whether I sell Anthem or Elevance or Aetna or Humana, whoever it is, the NMO should have a cap too. And if they don't, that's what's creating problems like this. It's not, I don't think it's the co-op dollars as much that are creating problems. I don't think it's HRAs that are creating problems, right? It's stuff like this. It's like, hey, the guy at the top is getting a much bigger rip when he sells Aetna versus Devoted, or when he sells Humana versus WellCare, or whatever it might be. I think that's where this issue stems from, not necessarily the co-op dollars, marketing dollars, and some of those admin fees and extra perks. I could be totally wrong, and if you think I am, feel free to drop it in the comments. I'm happy to chat about it some more. I mean, this is a new lawsuit. We're going to have to see how it shakes down, but I don't know that they'll intersect this with the 2024 final rule, the proposed final rule, right? That never got approved, right? In regards to eliminating marketing dollars, eliminating co-op, eliminating all these things. I don't know that creates the problem as much. Certainly could. I can see how marketing co-ops can do that. Like, give you a perfect, like I get marketing co-ops from Humana every year. I get marketing co-ops from Aetna every year. I get them from Cigna every year. Some carriers give me more than others. I still don't operate in the manner that just because Humana gave me more co-op that I'm going to purposely push Humana. And I know if Humana's out there and they hear this, they're going to be like, oh, well, Merwin's not doing the right thing with our co-op dollars. He's not pushing. I'm not supposed to steer. So give me all the co-op dollars you want. I'm not allowed to steer them to Humana, right? I'm going to use it to market the whole of my business, and I'm always going to write what's in the client's best interest. And if that means I get less co-op dollars next year, so be it. Like I don't run my organization based on the need for co-op dollars. Now, if I'm an individual agent out there and co-op dollars are really, really important to me, dude, I get it. That they can definitely be helpful. But per CMS regulations, you're not allowed to steer. So having said that, there is a good possibility. I'm glad that Matt brought it up. It's allowed me to kind of flesh this out in my brain some more. There is a possibility that this lawsuit could come back around and hit co-op dollars to where maybe now independent brokers aren't getting co-op dollars anymore. Right now, they're still on the table, right? I got some co-op earlier this year from Aetna that helped me out. I was asked, I was like, hey, do you think you can write another 50 Aetna apps if we give you this money? I was like, yeah, probably so. Can't tell you that we have because we're still going to write what's in the client's best interest regardless. I'm going to thank you very much, Aetna, but I'm not going to purposely steer people to your product. It's just not going to happen, period. So that could certainly come back around and bite us in the ass on that. There is a good possibility. Thank you for bringing that up, Matt. But with that said, I'm going to end the conversation on that topic right now. And I just want to bring up a product that you guys might be interested in. Not here to necessarily recruit you, but I want to tell you about a product that we have recently added and started selling. It's a small value add. And the reason we like it is because we're in the bilingual market, right? So let me just pop this up for you guys real quick, let you take a look at it. If you were out there selling in in any space and you have people that are traveling. It's basically travel insurance, international insurance. You may have already heard of it from Geo Blue. We started writing this just recently because, again, we work in the bilingual market, right? Everything that we do is marketing towards the Spanish language person. A lot of them are taking trips. They're going over to Mexico. They're going to Colombia. They're going to South America, et cetera, to go visit their old family or just get back to their home country for a bit. And constantly, when they do go, they ask us, hey, how is my Medicare plan going to take care of me while I'm visiting my family in Mexico the next couple of weeks? Well, it's not going to help you. It doesn't offer any routine care, whether it's original Medicare with a Medicare supplement or a Medicare Advantage plan. It will only cover generally up to about $50,000 of emergency care. Now, if you have a massive emergency while you're overseas somewhere or down in South America or Mexico, whatever it is, that 50K can go quick, and that is a lifetime limit. I think that's the biggest part to understand, is that those Medicare foreign travel emergencies are lifetime limit. And in the event that let's say you're hiking somewhere and you fall, break your leg, and you have to be life flighted out of there, that 50K is gone. That's toast, quick. So we picked up this contract from Geo Blue that offers international travel. And it offers quite a few different things. I'm just going to run through it kind of briefly. And if you guys have any interest in it, let me know. I can connect you to them over there. You can check them out. But basically, they have a couple different things. They have a short-term option, and that is for people taking one trip no more than 182 days in length. For example, we had a gentleman going to Colombia for 20 days that we helped him out and got him hooked up on this. So now while he's traveling, he's safe. He has medical, and it's not just emergency. If he gets sick while he's over in Colombia, he can go see a doctor, get some medication, get whatever he stays taken care of. They offer up to $1 million in medical, up to $500K on the evacuation if you need to be life lighted, right? They're in some cases, depending on the product, you may have pre-existing conditions. And then again, you do have there's some levers you can move in regards to, do you want a deductible? Do you not want a deductible? Do you want the full $1 million, or do you just want a little bit lower, et cetera, et cetera? And then you can also enroll groups of 5 or more. So if there's a group of people going, right, maybe it's a soccer team, I don't know, it's all traveling to South America and you want to help them out. They also have the Trekker plan. That is for people that travel a lot. Like they are traveling constantly. They're taking multiple trips in the year. It will cover them for up to 70 days per trip that they're taking. Certainly going to be a little higher price, but this is for like your globe, just like it's called the Trekker. This is your globe trotter. Like they are running around all the time. And then they also have long-term options, maybe for an expat, right, that has moved from the U.S. Now to, say, Belize. And while they might eventually get the government healthcare plan that exists in that country, they can get a short-term plan that will cover them for the time that they're there. And they even have other long-term plan. Like think about maybe a missionary, right? Maybe someone that's a maritime crew member. Like I have a buddy, one of my poker buddies, one of his side hustles is that he moves boats across the world. So he'll go on a long, multi-week boat experience where somebody that has maybe like a 100-foot sailboat and they want to move it from Galveston to the Mediterranean or something like that. So he's on the crew member that helps them move that boat across the ocean. This would be a great product for him. Students living abroad, right? If you got a student that's going to go to Europe for about 3 months or something like that, this could be a great thing for them as well. So you have single trip, multi-trip, and long-term options on it. And just to give you like the most popular one that you would probably offer would be the single trip, right? And they have them for individual and family, just to kind of show you some of the stuff that's in here and why we like it and why we're starting to pitch this. It's a great lead generator too, but we threw it out in an e-blast to our database and immediately started getting hits on it. But to give an example of some of the benefits that are on this, let me scroll down. Here you go. So these are like, this is the short-term stuff, right? So they give you a couple. This is for a single trip. It would cover it for up to 882 days while they're gone. In some cases, you might have to have a primary health insurance like a Medicare supplement, Medicare Advantage plan, or maybe group insurance. And in some cases, you don't need any other primary insurance. It'll fix you up. You get up to $1 million. They have a $50,000 medical, 100, 500, and 1 million. You can have a moving deductible, anything from 0 to 500. And then it covers 100% of anything that happens to you while you're there, right? Which is the best part about it. At least as far as these services go. There are some services where you're going to have a little bit of a co-insurance, just depends on what it might be, right? So you may have some deductibles and co-insurances in there. Like for example, on this dental care, it's going to give you 100% of reasonable charges. You look up here for, say, prescriptions, depending on the plan you get, might be only 50% of reasonable charges. So some of that just depends on the plan you end up choosing. Rates are not bad. Like we helped a guy out for that 20-day trip in Colombia. Is only $429 for him and his wife. And they've got on the one that we choose a little more of an economical one for them. But they've got $500,000 for evacuation. They have, I think, they only got $75,000 in medical. But if he gets sick while he's there, he can go get immediate service and make sure he gets what he needs. Awesome product. I will tell you a couple other things real fast. Telemedicine's included. So if you're just not sure you need to go to the doctor, you can just grab telemedicine. But more importantly, and this is the one that I really like, is the support structure on the back end. They have 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year customer support. Anybody you enroll, they can enroll in the app. And let's say, just for example, they're traveling to Greece, right? And they're hanging out in a club and they look at a girl the wrong way. And I'm telling this because this is a true story, not from me. And some dude clocks them in the face and breaks their jaw and they get hospitalized in Greece. Well, they can wake up in the morning, realize they got a broken jaw. They can get on the app, or at 3 a.m, let's say, they can get on the app, call the 24-hour hotline, and they can tell them, they will geolocate where they are. Like, oh, I see that you're in Greece. You're on the corner of 1st and 2nd, whatever it is. The nearest hospital, the nearest provider, the nearest best doctor is right here. Let me get you an appointment, or let me direct you there. Let me help you get there, right? It's a very high level, high touch service. So no matter where they are in the world, they can use the app, use the service, and find out, hey, help me. And they will direct them right to the best provider in that area for them. So super slick product. And like, again, they also have expat options and they have long-term options. If that is something you have some interest in, feel free to drop something in the comments. I can connect you with them and you can check it out. So like I said, it is not going to be a high commission product, but it's a nice value add, right? And that's why we picked it up, because we do, a lot of our beneficiaries are traveling to Mexico and South America on the regular, even if it's just a short trip to go see family, and they want to know that, hey, while I'm there, I can be hooked up. It also they do have products that include travel insurance. So maybe if you're buying an expensive trip and you want to make sure that your trip is insured so that if something happens and you miss your trip, has cancellation from some reason, you can get refunded the cost that you, the expense that you invested in your trip. And some of those will even reimburse you as high as 200% of your total trip cost. So super slick product. If you have any interest in it, give me a holler and I'll make sure you get connected on it. But that is really all I've got for today's Tuesday training. I really just wanted to talk about that DOJ article, and I will update you guys more on that as it progresses. I will be paying close attention to it because I'm super curious of how that's going to shake down and how it may affect us. Because ultimately, I think all of us believe that, again, those organizations are creating the highest number of complaints to Medicare, which creates regulation that ends up getting pointed back to us as the independent agent, right? And it elevates our cost of doing business. It creates more friction on our processes and how we have to do business, right? We have recorded phone calls now we have to have for 10 years as an example because of these problems that I'm of the opinion they are the biggest creators of. And because their pockets are so deep, like not a big deal for them, like they were already recording calls, not a problem for them. But it creates an issue for us as the independent guy. So I'm super interested in this lawsuit. And again, I will keep you guys up to date. With that said, man, have yourself an awesome day. Have an awesome week. I'll catch up with you next week on Tuesday training. Have a good one.